Welcome to Innowera's Simplify SAP Create It Now series. Today we will walk through how to create an MEK1 transaction automation script to create contract pricing conditions with scales, which will require me to implement looping. Notice that I have multiple sets of scales with multiple line items, and so this is going to require me to implement looping. Now I'll just minimize this Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to double click on Process Runner here. Now from the Start menu, I'm going to double click on New Transaction. Now in this transaction code box, I'm going to enter MEK1, and I'll push the Start Recording button. Now I can log into any SAP system across my SAP landscape. I'm just going to use a username and password here, but Process Runner does work with single sign-on, Enterprise Portal, SNC, as well as SSO1 and SSO2 authentication, and then also HTTP and HTTPS. Now what I like to do is put my Excel spreadsheet in the background so it makes it easy for me to see my data as I'm entering it. So I'll start out with the condition type. Then I'm going to click Key Combination. Now I'm going to select Material Info Record Plant Specific. Now I'll enter my vendor data, the material number, the purchasing organization, and the plant. Now I'm going to click Enter. And now I'll start to enter my material information data. Now I'll enter the valid on date, followed by the valid to date. And again, I'm going to press Enter. And from here, I'm going to select Go To, and then Scales. And now I'll begin to enter the scale data. It is critical to push Enter here at this point. If we don't push Enter here, or push Enter from our keyboard at this point, when running as an automation script, our process file will error out. Now down here at the bottom menu, I'm going to select Insert Row. Now as Process Runner is creating an automation script, each of the additional scale items are going to write to this first row, and because we have automated Insert Row, the data from each line item will not overwrite each other. Now I'm going to push Save, and I've ended the script recording process. Now I'll bring up Process Runner, and what I like to do to begin with for my mapping is to go to the Simple view. And from the drop down here, I'm going to select Use External Excel File so I can view that data that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So here I have my condition type coming from column A, my account number or vendor number from B, the material number from C, the purchasing organization from D, plant from E, purchasing information record category from column F, the rate unit from G, the validity start date and end date H and I, and finally the condition scale quantity from J and the amount from K. So now that I've verified that each field is properly mapped to the correct column, I'm now going to go to the advanced view. And from the advanced view, I'm going to be able to implement looping. So I'm just going to scroll down here until I come to the set of fields that I would like to implement the looping for. Here is the scale quantity and rate which needs to be implemented in a loop. Now from this screen, from the drop down, I'm going to select Start Loop, and Process Runner is automatically going to place the end loop just before the save. Now I just need to set my block type as well as block value, and I'm just going to pull the view up here to make it a little bit easier to view the data. So I'm going to set my block value to be column C. And so Process Runner will begin the looping when it encounters a value in column C. It will ignore the blanks and then stop the looping when it encounters a value again in column C. So I'll just change A to C, and now I'm going to go to the home ribbon. For here I'm going to set my start row and my end row. Now I'm just going to go back to the mapper ribbon and go ahead and press the run button. And I get the prompt to save the file before I execute it. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And I'll just do a save as local. I'll just save this to my desktop to keep this simple. But I could save this anywhere in my hard drive or network. And now the SAP messaging is writing directly to the Excel spreadsheet. And this is why I like to go to the mapper ribbon when I run it, just so that I can see the results of the run next to my data in conjunction with the mapping. But of course, I could have executed this from the home ribbon as well. And now let's bring up that Excel spreadsheet. This is my success messaging for each of these condition records. And let's go into SAP and just verify that the looping for the scales was done correctly. And here I can verify that the looping was successfully implemented, and I was able to successfully upload each of these scale quantities and values. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to learn more about how to simplify SAP, visit us at Innowera.com.